This past May, I spent 10 nights in Norwegian Cruise Line's The Haven, a luxury ship within a ship concept that features its own private pools, hot tubs, sun decks, restaurants, and lounges. Sailing in The Haven was truly an over-the-top mix of elegance and sophistication with outstanding customer service and world-class facilities. But was it worth the extravagant cost? In this video, I'm going to talk about whether NCL's Haven experience is actually worth the price, and even give you some tips at the end to get the most out of your Haven experience should you choose it for your next cruise. The first thing I want to talk about in the Haven is one of the most important and abundant things found on a cruise: the food. Depending on which ship you sail, the Haven will either have a dedicated Haven restaurant or have an exclusive dining schedule at one of the ship's specialty restaurants. I sailed on board the Norwegian Escape, one of the newer Breakaway Plus vessels that featured its own Haven exclusive restaurant with both indoor and outdoor seating. The restaurant was open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and in my opinion served the best food on the ship, period. During breakfast, the Haven restaurant served everything from avocado toast to a full-on 6-ounce steak, paired with a buffet serving things like breads, yogurts, sliced fruits, and my personal favorite, croissant. Also in the Haven, you're able to order French press coffee and specialty lattes for no additional charge, meaning the Haven also serves the best coffee on the ship. Lunch was consistently delicious with an assortment of what I would call country club food. Think burgers, salads, sandwiches, grilled fish, etc. But undoubtedly the real star of the show was dinner service. Over my 10-day cruise, I tried almost every single item on the menu and never once had a mediocre meal. In fact, some of the best food I've ever had on a cruise came from the Haven restaurant, including some of the best crab cakes I've ever had and some of the best risotto I've ever tasted. In addition to simply serving great food, the Haven restaurant staff was out of this world responsive when it came to making suggestions, getting drinks from the bar, and doing things like remembering your favorite items and having them ready for you on your arrival. Compared to the main dining room, the experience in the Haven restaurant is far better, but compared to specialty dining, I'd say it's only slightly better. Still, in a sense, eating in the Haven is like eating in a specialty restaurant for every meal, and even better, a restaurant located entirely within your own private escape. Speaking of private escapes, the Haven on the Norwegian Escape featured some really outstanding facilities, including a private pool, private sauna, and an adults-only sun deck. On days where the pool was absolutely slammed, and I mean not a chair in sight, there was never a lack of seating within the Haven. On our cruise, if you wanted to sit by the pool and relax without any loud music or distractions, without being in the Haven, it simply would not have been possible. I found the pool itself in the Haven to be almost always empty, with the hot tubs occasionally filled, but certainly less often than elsewhere on the ship. And that private sauna I mentioned, I get the feeling most people in the Haven didn't even know it existed, as my wife and I spent many an hour sweating away calories in between cocktails. The Haven bar kept our glasses full with some of the best bartenders on the ship and was fully stocked with premium liquor you couldn't find elsewhere on board. One of the other less advertised features that comes with the Haven is priority embarkation and disembarkation. On our mornings in port, we would simply walk over to the concierge desk and tell them we were ready to get off the ship. They'd take us through the employee elevator all the way to the gangway, and we were off without a single care in the world. When we came back from our excursion, they'd take us back in the same elevator directly into the Haven, bypassing the mad rush for the elevators and stairs by the rest of the passengers. The concierge is also able to handle all of your show reservations, dining reservations, and even help book excursions. The concierge has access to some of those hard-to-get reservations that might even be sold out, unless you're a Haven guest. Also included with your Haven stateroom is your personal butler, who can do things like arrange laundry services, bring you extra snacks, and even crazier stuff like unpack your suitcase or draw you a bath, although I never quite took advantage of that one. We provided our butler a letter at the beginning of our cruise that stated things we liked and wanted, and it seemed like every time we came back to the stateroom, there was another surprise waiting for us. Cookies, chips, popcorn, fruit plates. It was honestly so much food I felt bad that I couldn't eat it all. Your butler can also arrange in-room dining from anywhere on the ship, which means if you want to stay in your suite and have a relaxing breakfast, wings from Ocean's, or dinner from a specialty restaurant, you absolutely can. One of the really unique things about the Haven that sets it apart from other luxury cruise experiences is that it combines small ship amenities with big ship flair. While in the Haven, you get to enjoy secluded pools, plush furniture, and intimate dining without ever facing the crowds found on the rest of the ship. However, the option to leave the Haven and join the party is always open to you. So you can see a show, sing karaoke, or go to the nightclub until you're ready to head back inside. What the Haven is really offering to guests is the opportunity to have your cake and eat it too. Because although there are more luxurious lines and more party-centric lines, there are very few cruise lines in the industry that can offer both at the same time. Lastly, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one of the most obvious benefits of staying in the Haven, the service. Because your keycard has the Haven printed on it, everyone on the ship will know that you're staying in there, and they will treat you accordingly. Obviously, within the Haven area, the staff will go out of their way to make you feel comfortable, whether it's finding you that special snack, getting you your favorite table, or making you that perfect pre-dinner drink. But in other restaurants and venues on the ship, the staff will treat you equally well, making you truly feel like royalty on the high seas. Obviously, the Haven has some very enticing perks, but at the end of the day, a Haven stateroom is often 3, 4, 5, sometimes even 10 times as much as a standard inside stateroom. So the question remains, is the Haven worth it? If you were to add up all the tangible benefits of the Haven, the better tasting food, the nicer room, the private sun deck, the priority embarkation, if you take all of those things and put a dollar amount associated with it, from a monetary perspective, I can't truthfully say it reflects the cost of the room. If you get a really great deal or maybe win an upgrade to the Haven, it might get a little closer, but during peak season, a Haven stateroom is priced significantly higher than those tangible amenities add up to. However, and this is a big however, there are intangible things that come with staying in the Haven that, although the numbers might not totally add up, made the Haven absolutely worth the extra money. Having access to this exclusive area, this little slice of heaven where the staff knows your name and caters to your every whim, I have honestly never felt more relaxed on a cruise. When the music is blaring on the pool deck and you just need to get away, the Haven welcomes you with open arms, beckoning you to take a seat and indulge in life's finer treasures. The Haven is like a safety blanket, a comfort that assures you no matter how poorly your day may go on land or elsewhere on the ship, you will always return to greatness. So, is the Haven worth it? If you have the money to spare, it's a no-brainer. Do it. If the Haven stretches your budget a little thin, look for an off-season sailing and see if there are any great deals, even if you can only afford it once. Sailing in the Haven is a really tremendous way to experience NCL. And I'll be honest, it'll be very tough for me to sail with Norwegian now that I've experienced the best of the best. And now for my tips. To get the most out of your Haven experience, contact Concierge before you board and let them know if you have any special requests. As I mentioned, I wrote my butler a letter before we boarded that specified all the things that would take my vacation to the next level. And since he had that document to refer back to, there was no miscommunication. Take advantage of the priority embarkation and disembarkation processes by paying attention to the times that they're offered. This is communicated to you through the concierge and in your stateroom. And of course, keep your expectations reasonable. The Haven is an amazing thing to see and experience, but even the finest service and food won't live up to outrageous expectations. If you have any other questions on what it's like to sail in the Haven, drop a comment below and I'll be sure to respond. I hope to see you again real soon wherever the waves take you.